Yes. Sorry for blowing out your eardrums. Yes. Yes.
Oh! And gentlemen, our final card of the evening is 100 overall. Oh. No. Okay. Okay. I think Paul's trolling me again. I think Paul's trolling me again with this one. Tony Suck. We had to bring up Tony Suck at some point. This is not an actual card. Good. That's a good joke, Paul. That's a good joke. This guy, actual ball player, and he sucks.
I'm Lucky Dave.
I'm Ned Niederlander.
I'm Dusty Barnes. So together we're
the Three Amigos.
Yes, the Three Amigos. Don's sombrero with or without hat. We have EBC. We have Charles with a hat, and we have Sporer with a hat. Welcome in, guys. How's your morning going? Starting with you, Sporer. How's it going today?
It's going very well. Hope everyone had a nice holiday season. Excited for some really fun BREF stuff today.
Oh yeah, love those BREF. How about you, Charles? How's the evening going off there in Denmark?
Well, not bad. Hey, I'm still in the pop-up tournament.
Are you? The pop-up tournament's still going? Holy smokes. Or is it stuck?
Okay, it might be stuck, but I think that counts as still in.
Wait, which one?
That counts as still in. Okay. And EVC, after his return from the left coast. How's it going, EVC?
It's going great. I did not. I'm not wearing a hat. I'm the only one here not wearing a hat, except I did wear a hat in California, as you can see. It's not my own, but it's a very nice looking sombrero, and of course with the reindeer antlers, I think makes it kind of fun. So. Yeah. Wearing a hat costs 50,000 channel points. Everyone knows that, so that's why I'm not wearing a hat.
It even looks like it has some lights on there. I don't know what's wrapped around it, but
yeah, there's some lights, the whole shebang. So yeah, I had a good time in Cali. Always great to see all the family out there, and we have a big old party. We had like 54 people together. Nice super spreader event every time we get out there, which is always fun.
All right. Well, good to see you guys.
Does that mean if someone spends 50,000 channel points in here, you'd put a hat on?
I guess I would have to. Yeah.
I think we need 50,000 channel points for Warbot to knock an hour off each stream. How about that?
Ooh, that would be awesome. Like, there stop the stream now. Stop sharing the info.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've got a lot of channel points there, Warbot. All right. Today, of course, we've got missions. And when I'm looking up, a logo for missions, I did not realize that there was a baseball team. I mean, Spore, you're the baseball. Yeah. The San Antonio Missions, was that a real team, or am I just looking at it?
Still exists.
Still exists. Oh wow!
You might not want to show that logo.
No, no. Is there some issue with that logo? Oh, okay. Well, we'll go back to this one
later today. For later today.
Oh, for later today. Okay. All right. Well, again, we got lots to talk about here, guys. The missions are coming up. And of course, we've got in-game, for those of you that are unaware, in-game, we've got a way to find out how people like to play this game. We all like to play this game a little bit differently. For myself, I'm all about the lower level tournaments. I like to play those tournaments. But if you go into the universe, the perfect team universe, you can actually go and filter by, managers and by different accomplishments. And one of those is by completed missions. So we see that there are some people on here that love the completionists. They love to complete missions. 554 total missions in the game so far. EVC, are you a mission person? Do you like to get these things done, or do you take them as they come?
I get a lot of them. I didn't do, different teams do different missions because different teams have different things. Wow, we're up to only 15,000 more to make me wear a hat. So this is kind of getting frightening. We've got I do more tournaments. I do more quicks. I'm on the top there, and if you go to the sort by tournaments, I do more tournaments. But I really did a lot of quicks. I didn't really start doing the other tournaments till later. So I'm not. I love missions. There's been a lot of great extra packs this year in missions, which makes it a lot of fun.
There you go. So missions, 554. Again, there are a bunch of people that have completed all of them, including some people we see in chat once in a while. Brydav is up there. We got Fabtron up there. We've got, people, Spore, they live for missions, some of the users, and that's their jam in this game, is completing the mission. So today, I believe we have some BREF missions coming out, don't we?
Quite a few, yes. So if you like missions and you've been collecting BREF cards, today could be your day to really cash in on some things. Lots of players coming via BREF missions.
And you may notice a certain name up there, C. Steinhardt, baseball team TBD.
I know that guy.
Yeah, that has completed all the missions so far in the game. So, Charles, you're one of these completionists, aren't you?
I swear like 3 of them were by accident.
I think we could go back in the archives of his show and find some missions where he said, "Don't finish this. It's a bad idea to finish this." And now he's out here finishing.
They definitely I definitely finished some missions that were bad ideas to finish. Actually, I'll tell you honestly why I did them. Is that the missions are currently the only way you can lock cards in the game.
True.
Right.
And
So
I really wanted to lock some cards because if you sell a duplicate copy and you sell the wrong copy, it messes up all your
roster. Yeah, that alone could be a good reason to lock
So
some missions. I
may
totally
have done
hear
some
you on
missions to
that.
make sure I locked all the cards I could.
I can totally hear you on that.
all right, yeah. And there may have been a spoiler a little bit earlier if you caught the beginning of the show, but sometimes you get free stuff when you come to streams. I mean, EVC, yeah, it is kind of ironic. He's the only one not wearing a hat. Oh, now he's got one on.
That. We
fixed it. Chat fixed it. You got 50,000 channel points from various people. So here we are. We've got a hat.
Oh, there you go.
But,
I didn't know that carried over from different affiliate streams that we could
for
spend
today. For today.
That accounts.
Oh, okay.
Well, I did see a spoiler in your intro. I am glad we finally have the Tony Suck mission coming, right, Spore?
Yeah, a big BREF guy. He won a lot of awards. Played great in the playoffs.
You have to have 0 cards to complete this Tony Suck mission. I think that's what it is. EVC, you talked about playing a lot of tournaments, and you can filter by tournaments won as well. So you see that there are some people with over 1,500 tournaments that they have won.
There's Mark in chat, number 2.
Yeah, Mark in the Oxford Rebels with 1,549. There's EVC, the Banshees on the front page. Cobra's there. We've got Red Eclipse. Mr. Ree is there. So wow, we've got some heavily invested tournament users, and then it drops off quite a bit. So yeah, there we go.
The list I would be on if there's a way to search for it is wins in Diamond League without promoting.
Oh, same thing.
Well, we can look up championships. Let's see if who's got the most.
I don't think I'm going to be on the championships list.
Wait, Charles. I got the perfect league before you.
Yep.
What kind of universe?
No, I made it there earlier in the season, but I got stuck in Diamond for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to check.
The trials and tribulations of his playoffs are well documented with some.
No, we actually promoted this week, but I think we're going right back down. I don't know quite how we managed this, but we had a 5-23 month.
Oh no.
That's a good time. That's a good time.
That is tough.
5-23 is not good. Like that's not good.
It can only get better. It can only get better there, Charles. So we even see, you know, on the front page of the Championships One, your co-host on Fridays, Adolfo's there at the bottom with the Florence Baycats. So now you have something to shoot for there, Charles. Make the front page.
Why don't you do a drafts one and sort by that real quick and check out who's number 2?
Oh,
why don't we take a look at that real quick?
Let's do. All right.
Oh, there we go.
Guy.
There we go. That some gladiator team there. Yeah, 400. No, what do we got? What do we have for
55 draft wins right there?
Damn.
55.
Not just that, but think about how many more wins you would get if you didn't let your co-host occasionally try to help.
Help is a strong word there, Spore. Help is a strong word.
I think he would be covering the 18 draft gap here against Water
I
Rocket,
think so.
if not for Charles.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
So I've got to work on that. So maybe bring Charles in after the bounty draft is done. Water Rocket, look at that. That's quite the gap there with 73 draft wins. So yeah, this is a game where we all kind of have our favorite components. For me, like I said, it's the drafts, the lower level drafts. What is it for you, Spore? I know you're a base game guy, but you seem to be doing a lot more perfect team. What's your favorite part of the play?
A lot of tournaments now. I've been playing more and more tournaments, learning different levels, different tiers. So yeah, really gotten into tournaments this summer, into the fall here, and now obviously the winter. And I always love the perfect draft as a big fantasy player, but now the tournament building has become my favorite part.
How about you, EBC? What do you like the most?
I
other than theme teams.
I think theme teams are so wonderful. What else is there? What else? I know I've enjoyed the theme teams, of course, but this year is the first year I've really done gold tourneys. I've never really done gold tourneys in the past, and just keeping up with it. And I've had a lot of fun and winning some weeklies and dailies, And so that's been a lot of fun. Just kind of keep up. But I'm so behind the meta. Go on vacation for a week and the meta changes. So I need to get some pointers from everybody, figure out what to change up and do.
And Charles, how about for you? Your favorite component of
I love league play all 6 days a week that it exists.
You don't like Sundays, do you? You're like Garfield on Mondays, Charles on Sundays is just a downer.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
EBC,
Actually, you know what? Because of all of this, though, we're up on the leaderboards for just total wins this season because we keep, doing well in the regular season.
Oh, well, that's
show that leaderboard. We're up there on that, but not so much on the championships.
EBC, you do have a guess the set contest. You pinned it in the chat there, so you guys have a small window to guess the set. When I went to guess
till the end of the stream, pretty much.
Okay. When I went to guess the set, it showed no longer accepting responses. I think it's probably fixed, but
it's fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not awake this morning. Refresh.
Yeah,
Does it work now?
I just threw a few guesses in real quick.
I appreciate
so.
you.
Don't know if they're any good, but they're at least guesses.
Well, and EBC, one thing you're known for is your bunk. So is there a player that you want to throw out as a bunk guest today?
I mean, I don't know if it's bunk, but I feel like this is the week. This is the week we get Bob Gibson. I'm assuming, I have no idea, right? This is all bunk, which is what I'm really known for, and I feel like this is the week that this is 4. These are all the award winners, and so for Baseball Reference Series 4, like what are going to be the award winner toppers? And I know Bob Gibson's been a big guesser for a long time. Bruce Sutter, Catfish Hunter, Lou Boudreau. Like there's all sorts of interesting things. We've talked about Torrey Hunter, Eric Chavez. A lot of people who've won a lot of these Gold Gloves, Cy Young Awards, MVPs that don't have a card yet in the game. And that's where I'm sticking my bunk today.
All right,
these are all award winners because then my guesses are not very good.
I have not looked at your guesses yet, Charles. Should I take?
All right, you know, well, here we go. That's all right. I can give people my guesses, but if you want, I can throw out. Should we each throw out a bunk answer?
Yeah, throw out a bunk answer.
All right. My bunk answer, if we're going to do an award thing, okay, I think we should go back to someone who never won a Cy Young Award, but you can't really think of the Cy Young Award without him. I think we get a Cy Young.
That's a good one. I like that.
Cy Young. All right.
And then maybe we should get another Rookie of the Year, Jackie Robinson, because he's the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year award. I think that's also another good.
Oh, that would be a good one too. Yeah.
Or do we get a two-way Babe Ruth? That's my bunk. Is a two-way Babe Ruth that maybe we get.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Justin Morneau's, MVP though is just, I feel like we need some Justin Morneau just for fun.
Ty Cobb is another possibility. You could get that Ty Cobb.
I don't think he won. Did he win any awards?
Did they have stolen base awards back then?
No, you couldn't have a Ty Cobb though, because there aren't any Tigers in this set.
True.
That's right.
Is that confirmed?
There'll be no Tigers this week. Confirmed.
Is that true?
So many good cards to come, and the guy at the bottom of the screen is just smiling. We're looking for tells.
I know.
Like
it's the most uncomfortable I think I've seen Spore in a long time.
Let's all watch Spore. Look for tell. Let's Tris Speaker.
All right, we could ask Spore. How about this? Who is the card that you didn't put in the set, but like if you had added one more? Maybe you could give us that one without it being a spoiler.
I mean, he was literally just mentioned. Justin Morneau hit the cutting room floor. So
Justin
he was
Morneau
literally just mentioned. And the problem was, I don't know, the shape of it's kind of weird. He might still come out in a different way. I kind of want to rework it, though. It really wasn't fitting. And I thought it would be. And listen, not every one of these is a meta card, but I couldn't really find any avenue for him. I know you guys go through it on the Friday show, and you're like, well, where could this guy be played? And that Morneau was really coming up lame for what it was looking like he was going to be rated. So I was back to the drawing board with him, and he had the cutting room floor today.
Or one card that has been playing pretty well is this guy here that just came out in that little invitational tournament. He had quite the game. Yeah,
he did.
Jeff Francoeur.
What level?
All right. We've got, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Charles Meta Gold lineup. EVC mentioned he's starting to play some gold tournament. Get your pen, EVC, because we've got the Charles Gold Meta lineup, cards that you should be looking for in those gold open tournaments. So back in 2 minutes time.
Most of the players are Red Sox just to burn messages.
All right, we're here back once again. A reminder, if you're just jumping on here, EVC's Guess the Set contest. It's pinned in the forum there, or at least it was. Maybe the pin has expired, EVC. Maybe pin it one more time if you get a chance. And yeah, guess the set on what cards are going to come out for today's baseball reference. Thanks so much to D King, Sean, Paxler, and Boiled Egg for the continued subs. Boiled Egg, 7 months. D King, 10 months already. Man, time flies. And Sean Paxler, one of the great helpers on the commission's EMLB report. He's always there doing the polls, getting the hype going. Sean Paxler, thanks all that you do for the community, especially with the EMLB community. So thank you, guys. All right. As promised, Warbot, I made a little slide for you here, Warbot, the Warbot Meta OOTP 24 recommendations. Last week, you did simply the meta for a neutral park if you have all the cards in the game. Today, we're looking at specifically gold, open gold, neutral park. And let's start with pitchers. Give us your recommendations for who we should be looking for.
All right. So first off, I just want to say gold, I think, is one where the meta is in really good shape because there are a lot of options. And so I'll give you kind of the top pitchers I'd be running if it's neutral, but this is actually not what I, for example, ran in the gold weekly last night. But I think, oh, should I be pulling these up?
Nope, that's fine. We've got them on the screen here. We can look at them.
All right. So first off, we've got kind of the new, we got the new rookie sensation, Trevor Rogers. He only has 59 stamina, so you have to be a little bit careful with that, but he's going to be really good as long as he's in the game. We got LeBlanc. We got the new Johnny Wright as well. So another card that just came out. You got your Canadian in there in James Paxton. Another sort of low stamina guy, and then we got Evaldi, the tournament card. But I think there are another, good 4 or 5 names that you could add to this if you wanted to, and maybe depending on matchups and things like that.
Okay, and in the bullpen, you have the 3 that you sent me for recommendations.
Yeah, I think so. I think the new Hoffman from the PT Elite set, I think, is just by far and away kind of the best thing that you're going to get out there. So that one now you're just going to want to find a way to run in all your pens. And then Robertson is quite a ways behind, but probably like a clear number 2. And then there's a bit of a gap, and then Arthur Rhodes, and then you could throw in maybe Stu Miller or Tyler Holton, kind of as the next couple.
Right. And a couple of tournament reward cards of the Killen, the Vern Gregg card that you recommended as well. If you have access to those cards, they might bump out the Evaldi and the Paxton. But you mentioned that you used a different set of pitchers in your tournament last night. And is that because of park factors? Is it because just of the situational play?
So actually, the reason for it is a little easier to explain if we look at the hitters.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's go and take a look at the meta lineup versus the left-handed pitchers.
Yeah. So what I want to show you is that if we look at kind of the best players out there right now versus lefties and righties, a lot of them have pretty big splits. And so you're thinking pretty hard about how to platoon. Okay. So it wouldn't be a Warbot recommendation if I didn't run Grandal and his eye at catcher, right? It wouldn't, it wouldn't be a PT 24 thing if we didn't get a Tiger in there and Torkelson. So there's the PTCS card, and Phillips is really strong. Elliott, again, it's just a big bat at third. Larkin's a card that's available for everyone. And then we've got a few new cards in the outfield. So there's the tournament edition Chas McCormick that just came out. Cameron's been out, I think, for maybe 3 weeks or something.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Was that from the first? Sorry, Spore, your mic. I don't know if it's just for me. I think it's a little bit low.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's been out for a little bit. Yes. Sorry, my mic was turned way down for some reason.
And then the Brunansky is just a couple days old.
Correct.
And then we've got the tournament edition Frank Thomas. So you've got a lot of lefty masters in there. But notice that several of these cards are pretty splitty. Elliott's splitty, Phillips has huge splits, McCormick somewhat.
Larkin.
Yeah, Larkin for sure, Brunansky a little bit. Thomas and Torkelson are also a bit splitty. It's just that they're still really good against righties, and so they're still probably cards you want both ways. And if we go the other way, you also get some really splitty cards, right? This Zach Geloff in particular is incredibly splitty. You can run him at second or third or even short. I think here I've got him at third so that we can get Chase Utley's defense in. Shin-Soo Choo is still probably the best bat in gold, even if you had to run him on both sides, because he's so incredibly good against righties. But he is a one-way hitter, ideally. You know, Schwarber really should only go one way. Lindor, probably. And so what you see is we have some really good options versus righties. We also have some really good options versus lefties. But if you tried to run both of these, you'd be at 15 or 16 players, probably 16. Because you'd have 9 starters, 6 platoons, and you need a backup catcher. And probably Schwarber isn't enough to kind of be your backup catcher. So what it means is right now in gold, you have to make a big decision. You can either A, run your best lineup against righties and have a couple weak spots against lefties. B, you can do the opposite. You can kind of focus against all the lefties. Or C, you can actually downgrade a couple positions. So run a card like Harry Ford, who, you know, if you had to run him, if you had to run one third baseman against every starter, Harry Ford would be my #1 option. But Geloff and Elliott are so good on their respective sides that I get a lot of value out of trying to play the platoon. So it's kind of in a really healthy place where you have to make a decision. What are the cards I think I'm going to be up against? And how do I want to combine this pool of probably 20 or so really good playable cards? So I think I sent you what I actually ended up running. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't have that one up right now, but maybe just kind of go over what you did end up running.
Because sure, yeah. Again, because I actually ended up skipping several of these cards to kind of try to decide where to run two-way players. I can see if I can pull it up. But so what I did is I did end up running Harry Ford, just kind of to save a spot, with the idea that some combination of Ford and Schwarber, kind of between them, even if they're starting some of the time, I tried to get them to add up to a backup catcher. And you have to be a little bit careful with the way you give rest, but you can kind of maybe do it. So that was one thing I did. The other thing I did is I kind of looked at all of these splitty cards, and I decided that the best thing to do was to go with an all lefty rotation and then basically a righty, sort of a righty bullpen. So because you have all of these good lefty and all of these good righty options, and because it's kind of in a healthy place where you can find 5 quality lefties and you can find 5 quality righties, I kind of decided to try to dodge what I thought other people were running, and I figured they might be prioritizing their lineup against righties. And that worked pretty well, actually, until I ran into Dallas Skyline Sluggers, grumble, grumble, who actually did have a more kind of righty-heavy lineup and ended up being a really good matchup for what I was trying to run, and knocked me out in 7.
So who would you end up going with your pitchers then in that situation with your lineup? Because you went with all lefty pitchers?
Yeah, so then I ran Trevor Rogers and James Paxton off this list. I ran Frank Killen and Veen Gregg from the PTCS, or I think one of them might have been PTM from that series. And then I also ran the tournament edition Mark Langston, which is kind of up there with the others.
Right.
And so then I put some of the righties in the pen. So Jose LeBlanc still ended up on my team because he's good. I just ran him out of the pen with Stu Miller in that group.
Are there any silver cards that are playing up into this from like a Tyler Wells or?
Wells would probably be the closest, but I don't think he quite plays if you have all the options available. The silver cards that would be more likely to play would be if you're looking for a couple kind of, options to build a depth chart while dealing with the splits. So I might imagine Mike Gallego could play up just because he covers a lot of positions, and there isn't another kind of lefty masher that covers all of the middle infield positions. So that's one way of building a roster. Like, you know, if you're running Geloff, you got a platoon partner. You know, I could imagine if you really want to mash lefties, like if you're playing against my lineup, and you know that's what you're playing against, you run even additional lefty mashers. You run like a Jeff Francoeur, who you don't want to ever face righties, but he clobbers lefties and plays excellent defense in right field. You know, I just sort of couldn't quite get him on the roster. You know, I sort of couldn't quite get him on the roster here because he only plays right field, and a card that only plays one position and only plays one side of a platoon, it's just really tough to find a way to build a roster. But if you knew you're facing 5 lefties, now you're probably willing to do that because you want him playing every day he can.
I think Chad is also noticing that you find Goose Curry just a little too spicy for you.
Yeah. So I actually did run Goose Curry. So in the lineup I ran here, that's what I can do. I can share what I actually ran, if that helps.
Yeah.
Right. Because I showed you the 15 players that I think would have been best individually. But remember, we said that counts to like that doesn't let you count to 16, right? I only get to count to 14 in that era. So the way I actually tried to solve that was I can show you. So I ran Harry Ford, who isn't quite the best either way, but if you need a two-way player, is really good and backs up catcher. I ran Goose Curry, as Chat was mentioning. Again, he's more balanced. So if you could just get a righty masher and just get a lefty masher, you could do better than Goose if you add them up. But Goose is kind of giving you both in one. And actually, Skyline Sluggers and I played a really messy, long, chaotic series where the fact that Goose Curry just has a little bit of pitching ability kind of helped him from burning out his bullpen as well. And then the other card I ran Brenton Doyle, who isn't the top two-way player, isn't the top one-way player on any of these sides, but just the fact that he can credibly play versus left and versus right because of that defense kind of meant that it made sense to use him to build a roster. So he was starting in center for me versus lefties, just because if I had tried to run Cameron or Brunansky, they couldn't have covered all 3 positions. And I knew that whoever was playing left needed to be able to cover for Harry Ford when Harry Ford was catching. So they had to actually be able to play left. That's the thing. It's kind of it's a mess because you're trying to kind of fit 16 players into 14. But that's why Gold's in such a good, position right now. It's a really fun meta because it's not just like, take your top 14 hitters and your top 12 pitchers and roll out the baseballs. You actually really have to think about how are you going to construct a roster, and can I turn 2 half catchers into 1 catcher and squeeze out 1 more position and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think it's a really good team. It's I think Gold is probably my favorite of the metas, just in terms of the different options we've got right now.
Cool. Yeah, and mentioning this was one of the cards you did have in your bullpen as well as a good option was the Holton card. Yeah,
Holton I think is excellent. And the other 2 excellent things about Holton, first off, he's eligible for low gold, not just full gold. And, and second, it just fits the current meta really well because there are a bunch of tournaments that are gold floor caps. And Holton's kind of a card that you're willing to pay 3 points for in a cap when maybe you're not going to be able to afford paying 9 points for Jeff Hoffman.
Right. Who is the more elite player? As you mentioned, there's a gap between Hoffman and everyone else.
Yeah, Hoffman's excellent, but you may not have 6 points to pay for a bullpen arm. In a gold only cap, 89 is a max player. And, so you might not be willing to take a max player on even your top bullpen arm if you can get a decent enough bullpen arm a lot more cheaply.
Right. And that tournament you were going over, which one was that you were in last night?
Well, that last night was Golden Sunrise, so that one's open gold. But
open gold.
This is just, yeah, so this is just an open gold meta. Okay, one last thing that I would keep in mind. We've been talking about 12 pitchers and 14 hitters. Generally, the reason that you need 12 arms is because when a game goes poorly, you tend to use a lot of pitchers. But there's a correlation there, which is when a game goes poorly, you also lose it a lot of the time. So if I'm running the do or die gold, which is a single elimination tournament until you get to the finals, I might be inclined to try to put more of these platoons in there and run 11 pitchers and be more aggressive, or even 10 and be just super aggressive. Just thinking that, you know, if I ever have a game where I need to throw 6 pitchers out of my bullpen, there's a decent chance I got knocked out in a single elimination format anyway.
Mhm.
So maybe you try that just because the platoons are so good. But in an open gold tournament like this, where it's best of 7, I know I'm going to lose a bunch of games even if I make a deep run. So I have to have a full bullpen.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that Warbot meta report on gold. Always good to hear which cards we should be looking for in chat. Very knowledgeable as well. And some of you in chat have your favorite cards. Someone mentioned the Harry Ford's the most frustrating one because he's eligible at all these positions and you kind of want to fit him in everywhere. Let's take a quick look. There will be no pre-release today with the holidays and everything, and everyone spending time with family. Absolutely understandable that we don't have a pre-release card. We'll see all the cards released on Dish's stream today. But let's talk a little bit. EVC, I don't know if you had a chance to look over the Tuesday Treasure Trove cards. Was there one that stood out for you, kind of a favorite if you did?
I have to be honest. I barely got a chance with family and everything. I'm out of it. So you guys need to key me in. Besides the Bernansky, which I hear is gold meta, what else I should be looking at? Because I have no clue.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they got I didn't see them post all the pictures posted yet. I don't know if you posted them or not.
They are in there. Yes.
Awesome.
I didn't get them in right away, but they're up there now.
All right. So yeah, this one, Charles, you know, probably one of the favorite cards. You mentioned him as part of your gold meta. So we'll quickly just go through a couple. What impressed you, or why does this fit that gold meta? Simply because you use him against the left-handed pitchers?
Yeah, he's better against lefties than righties, but he's still just good for roster construction because, you know, I think it's the same thing with Frank Kerr. You know, kind of why the reason that Frank Kerr can kind of survive on rosters is it's actually about the glove even more than the bat. You know, this is really a top tier glove, and Frank Kerr even more so in right field. And the nice thing is that even if you're not hitting, the glove is sort of always going to play. So, you know, I'd rather hit Brunansky against lefties, but when you've got an excellent defensive outfielder at all 3 positions, you know, if it turns out he has to play against righties and maybe he's not as good of a hitter as Shin-Soo Choo, but Choo has to sit occasionally, you know, you're still getting kind of some kind of bat with really excellent defense. And that's much easier to stomach than, you know, like trying to run Cecil Fielder, you know, against, you know, a righty at first base or something.
And Spore, you know, when you were creating the Tuesday Treasure Trove, was there a card that, you know, again, just a personal favorite, a card you enjoyed creating?
I'm a huge Reynaldo Lopez fan. So, you know, despite his trials and tribulations as a major leaguer, I've always rooted for him. Apparently the Braves are going to put him back in the rotation. So this is a starter card for him. Never really quite came together as a starter. I think he's probably better as a reliever, but I do think this 44 iron with the 85 stamina, you know, might be able to fit in a low iron roster too. So while I don't think he's necessarily meta, I do think Reynaldo Lopez at 44 might have some play, and he was a favorite of mine regardless.
All right. And
I see chat saying Brunansky is hard to find. So I actually did not pick one up yet either, but a strong recommendation for everybody. If you're interested in new cards, at least on the higher levels, take a look at the list when Spotlight packs come out. And if a card you want is in Spotlight packs, put up a buy order. As people rip Spotlight packs, you're very likely to get one because there will be a bunch of copies on the market.
Put up a fair order. It will likely get filled. Charles is 100% right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
don't know. Now, I don't know what the spotlights will be this week. It might be that if it's a baseball reference for a mission, it's possible the spotlights, instead of having these new cards, will be only BREF 4 cards or something. You know, we'll find out when they're released.
And I'm assuming all the cards are there are mission reward cards,
Correct.
which is interesting because usually you have a set of at least 10 to 12. So like having 10 to 12 mission reward cards, that means there's a lot of missions probably coming.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Or one mission with, you know, like 12 rewards.
True. We've seen that happen.
Mega
before.
mission.
It's like the
Yeah.
birthday
Mega mission. Collect every BREF 4 card, and you suddenly get a new meta team. You know?
There you go. There you go. Get a whole new squad.
Let's end off with this. I've got a soft spot for catchers. You know, the battles they go through behind the plate, the wear it takes on their knees. Charles, everyone uses or has used in the past at some time that Jeff Mathis. Some still use him. Do we now have a platoon partner for Jeff Mathis other than Carlton Fisk?
I do like that Carlton Fisk a lot, so I think that's part of it. I can run it for you real quick. One sec. I can run that real quick. I don't remember his popping to the top of the list, but you know, memory's not that good these days, so better check, right?
Coming from probably the youngest person on the panel, memory's not that good. Yeah.
I got a new Christmas gift. It's me.
Oh my God.
On a cup. It says EVC underneath here.
That's amazing.
And it's got,
just a sec here. We gotta take a look at that.
I love that.
It's got EVC on it.
I want an EVC cup.
Is the glass half full or half empty, EVC?
It's both. Why not both?
There you go. All right. So the Brett Main
sure.
card.
So taking a quick look, I think you could run Main as kind of a second catcher in Iron, but I think, and this is just kind of something to think a little bit about, you know, about how cards play at different levels. You know, one of the things to keep in mind is that every cards are generally not like just good or bad. They're good against some things and bad against others, right? Like if you look at this Brent Main, you know, he has certain strengths, he has certain, you know, the power is a real weakness and so forth, right? And that's how most Iron cards work, is that the reason that they're Iron is that there's, you know, at least something that they were really, really bad at. And the reason they're major leaguers is that there was at least something they were really, really good at. So you get a lot of these imbalanced cards you have to figure out what to do with. I think Brent Main will do fine against Iron cards, but one of the big values of Mathis is the two things he was really good at: catcher ability. That catcher ability plays, you know, if you put him in perfect league, the catcher ability is still going to play, right? So that plays up really well. And also, eye is sort of, you know, seems to be the skill that degrades the least, you know, that as you get people against better pitchers, they stop getting hits, they stop getting home runs, but they still seem to walk. So for those two reasons, I don't think Main plays up nearly as well as Mathis. You know, I think if you're kind of trying to think about, you know, who are the Iron cards that you're actually going to run, you know, really high up, then it would have been, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, it is that time already. It's just the 45 minutes has flown by. Dish will be up soon if he's not up yet. Again, last chance to guess the set. EVC is going to close that down probably, at the top of the hour or right after the stream?
Yeah, pretty much right near the top of the hour, so I can start compiling stats, and I'm going to come on after whenever Charles and you finish. I'll stream a little bit and reveal today's winners today, and then we'll do our Rip-A-Pack-A-Palooza. I have to save some room. I got a lot of packs to open across.
Well, now that we know I'm the one holding lap back on the bounty drafts, maybe we can speed that one up a bit.
Well, that's what I've been asking you for 3 weeks. Speed it up, Charles. Come on. Spore, any closing comments about what we're going to see today?
Going to be a lot of heat. I'm excited to see what y'all think. A lot of a handful of perfects, plenty of diamonds, a couple lower tier cards. You know, a lot of BREF out there. It all comes to a head today, and so hopefully you've been getting your BREFs.
Oh, actually, I got
Ooh.
one question. I got one more question for Spore, which is you saw
Mhm.
kind of what I thought the gold meta might look like.
Mhm.
Are there any cards that, kind of the way you designed them, you either expected or maybe just think should be in that list
No, because
that I
you
didn't
you
have in
mentioned
there?
some of the ones. Obviously, Harry Ford jumped out immediately. The one guy I don't know that you mentioned that I still quite like is Ken Singleton. He is DH, which isn't always the best if you don't have any defensive value, but I feel like his bat is probably good enough to still hang around. But you also mentioned at the very outset that there are options in gold. Like there are meta players, but I do think that like if you're on that second guy in the right park, especially, it might not even be like you're that far behind if you don't have them. So that's one of my favorite things about gold, like you said, is that you can go a lot of different avenues. But you mentioned Ford. Singleton was probably the one you didn't mention that I do have quite a bit of love for. Or if you mentioned him, I missed it personally.
I still like Roger Bresnahan. Just
Yes.
Yeah, that
me
that
too.
Bresnahan with the triple eligibility. I mean, he's not great at any of the positions, but just having that catcher on the card
Yeah.
always helps too.
I
Yeah.
love him in the Golden Dead Ball Rebirth because of that catcher ability.
Yes.
Yeah, Singleton. I'm still running in low gold for sure. For me, it was just that if I put Singleton up against Frank Thomas,
That's fair.
for me, Thomas was the card that kind of killed Singleton. And I can't run Thomas at first because I really want both Thomas and Torkelson. And so
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
Singleton ends up being the one that gets squeezed out because you got to pick only two.
And I think that's okay, yeah, because you can't put all three of them on there with Thomas and Singleton bringing no defensive value. So I do
Yeah,
agree
but
there.
maybe, but I think maybe if you thought you were going to face all five righties, maybe you would skip Thomas and maybe you would do something
Go
else.
for Singleton over Thomas.
Singleton or even an imbalanced card. Like there's that Matt Stairs that's kind of got a
Yep.
fun shape where, if I know I'm facing five righties, maybe I do that.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think you could
guys.
definitely. Sorry, go ahead, because we got to get going.
Yeah, again, just lots, and that's what's great about it. So many conversations about these cards and which ones to play. Because there's, as Charles mentioned in gold, there's a few choices out there. So we'll be back on the Hawk Report after TWIP. We're going to send you right there. Don't touch that dial. We'll send you over. And again, going to have some trivia, going to have our bounty, our usual things on the Thursday show. Spore, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Again,
me.
thank you for taking time over the holidays. EBC, glad you made it back to New York safe. We'll see you after our stream. Sending you to Dish. Have a wonderful day.
Have a good one, y'all.
Thanks a lot.
bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We're done.
Remember to mute.